Hey, y'all, it's Oklahoma Soda Gal, aka your Thunder Auntie Brittany, here today with my co-host and your other Thunder Auntie Paula. Hey, Paula.
Hello. Are you staying warm up there?
I am staying warm. It's a bit chilly. It was minus 31 when I woke up this morning, but it has warmed up to it's minus 12 right now. So it's warmed
Oh, it's
up a whole
blistering.
19 degrees. It's so much warmer now.
Oh, just blistering. Yeah. We're still waiting for Snowmageddon to start here, and it hasn't yet, but it is coming, and we are completely as prepared slash ill prepared as we can be down here.
I hope y'all get some snow because it's always fun in Oklahoma to get some snow just for a couple days because it never sticks around for very long.
No, the ground is too warm, but I would much rather, and I'm fingers crossed that it's snow and not ice and sleet, because those ice storms are just, they're nasty. But the thing
Yeah.
is, we're going to be cold, and I hate saying we're going to be cold considering you're waking up to negative 31, but we'll be below freezing for about 96 plus hours. So the
Yes,
animals aren't going to like
it's
going
it's
outside.
just like by default below freezing, like the month of January here where I'm at. Like we had 2 days where it got above freezing this month so far. It got up to like 35 degrees. I'll tell you, when it gets up to 35 here after like a week of like 10-degree temperatures, I'll go out and like run a couple errands outside, like with no jacket on and short sleeves, and be like, oh, it's so nice out today.
It's hoodie shorts and flip-flops weather.
It's so wild too. It was a couple years ago. I was out picking up some stuff at a liquor store on New Year's for a family event, and it was minus 14 out. And these people are showing up at the liquor store, getting out of their trucks in shorts and sandals. It's like, I'm just running inside a minute. Just like,
I get that. I mean, I just gotta run. I just gotta run in the store. I'm at the door. It's not a big deal. I'm just gonna get back in the warm car. I get
right?
it. I get it.
Yeah. So, we're built a little different up here. So.
You know where it is warm here? Inside the Paycom when the Thunder are
Woo!
winning.
Nice 3-1 road trip. Thunder coming back on from just that one loss in Miami. Um,
And even then, that was a tight game.
a tight game that, let's be honest, kind of got robbed from us by some poor officiating that even the last 2-minute report caught.
Yes, it pointed out the obvious that anyone with eyes and even the people using assisted devices could see.
Yeah,
That was not an offensive foul on Shai. That's all.
it was one of those moments where it was like you could almost tell that that ref had decided that the next time he saw Shea like lean even a little bit, he was gonna make that call and just like didn't matter what he actually saw in that moment because he had already like primed himself for it. It's
But Shea just,
unfortunate,
you
but
know,
you know,
Shea just let that drive him, and then, and he got accolades this week.
he did. The great segue, but I actually want to stay here just a second.
My bad. You go right
It
ahead.
just occurred to me there is something I want to say. I've
Yeah.
seen this sentiment out there. Why do they even do this last 2-minute report if it doesn't change anything?
Now yes.
There's a reason. There's multiple reasons. One, it does provide some transparency and it shows that the league is watching the officials and grading them. And they do it for those last 2 minutes in particular because going through every game's 48 minutes in such a short turnaround to put out a report the next morning isn't really feasible. So they focus on those most meaningful last 2 minutes, like what did they get right and wrong?
Hmm.
And they'll, if you ever read the full report, it'll say this call was correct, this call was incorrect, this call. So they
Yeah.
literally will go through like every possession in the report and say what was right and wrong. This then goes into the grading of these officials and it gets compiled. And so not every official who does regular season games gets selected for the playoffs. And so the more that official shows up making mistakes in those last 2 minutes and those last 2 minute reports, the less likely that official gets chosen to do playoff games. Why is this important? They get paid extra money and bonuses for being chosen to do the playoffs. So it increases their salary, it increases the money they make. So they have an incentive to get calls right so that they can make the so they can make it to the next step in their career, get chosen to do the playoff games. So while yes, it does not impact like the standings as far as a win or a loss, it does impact the officiating moving forward and it makes those guys cognizant of what they're missing.
I'm I'm wondering, because there's no direct penalty. There's also no direct compensation for, you know, Shea getting that offensive foul called or missing things. Because we also look on the other side of it when they don't catch, an AJ backcourt violation. I mean, there's good and bad, but the impact is interesting because I'm wondering if they look, and I don't know again because I haven't looked into it, but I'm curious how much refing recognizes patterns of incorrect calls and make adjustments or identify things because they did the pass through, the harden, the step back and the pass through and all that. They made a change in the association with that. Are they using the 2 minute reports to make changes like that? Does that impact something like that?
It absolutely can. It does play into how they're looking at things as a whole. I do actually think something the NBA is going to have to consider moving forward, especially as more if more of these gambling scandals pop up, is something like that racing leagues are starting to do, where they're actually outsourcing the officiating to third parties that are separate from the league themselves so that the officials can't be accused of pulling strings on behalf of the league either.
Yeah.
So that this doesn't come up a ton in the NBA these days, but for those of us who've been fans for 30, 40 years, you might remember it was either the conference semifinals or conference finals, Lakers versus Sacramento Kings, and there was a deciding game 7 where the officiating was just atrocious and it was just completely favored the Lakers the whole game. The Sacramento Kings got the short end of every single missed call, like everything went against them.
Mhm.
And a lot of fans came to the conclusion, rightly or wrongly, that the NBA had put its thumb on the scale and pushed the officials to favor the Lakers so that the Lakers would end up in the finals and not the Sacramento Kings.
Yeah.
Um, with this gambling stuff that's taken off, those kinds of accusations are going to become more regular. And that's going to be something where leagues are going to have to figure out how do we separate the officiating to where it does not look like we now have a thumb on the league for our betting partners. They're doing FanDuel's the official betting sponsor of the NBA. Like once you've now made official, connections to these gambling units, like now you're starting to run the risk of these kinds of accusations getting real legs. And so
Well, my
And it,
broadcasts is the FanDuel, the local network or that I watch on because I'm a homer and I like our guys, is FanDuel, and then there's FanDuel betting commercials just all the time. And so it's one of the things that, I mean, it's linked. There is no separation. I
yeah.
mean, it's just straight up. And then they're putting, the FanDuel odds next to, on the at the bottom of the screen, and you're seeing the score and then how many shots Shai made. And then the next thing is FanDuel 33%, whatever, whatever, these parlays. And it's like
Hmm.
there's a lot to it. I don't want to say I get it. I see it and I understand business decisions. I don't know that the regulations have caught up with the technology, which
Yeah.
is in all aspects of life nowadays, but definitely in sports
Yeah,
and
there's a
betting.
whole other discussion that needs to be had about whether you should be able to be doing these bets from your phone, but that's a whole other deal.
Yeah, ease of
I
access.
I'm generally like somewhat of a civil libertarian, and I generally believe most things should be legal. And so I have no problem with legal sports betting. I do kind of have a problem with it being like directly on people's phones. Like maybe at least make you have to go to the casino to do it.
Yeah. They have to come up with something, but like most technology, the ease of use has, you know, been rolled out and it's going to be hard to wind it back.
Well, after
But
that officiating sidetrack and me stomping all over your amazing segue,
man, I had that one in my pocket. Pocket. So let me
just
try again. So speaking of amazing, Shay got accolades this week again.
again, our boy Shea Gilgeous Alexander, he was named to the All-Star starters for the third time as a starter, fourth time as an all-star. Great accolade to have. I expect many more, but we never know what's going to happen. We got to enjoy what's in front of us. Um, and he was also Western Conference Player of the Week for last week. So,
Yeah, that came out during the game on Monday, like mid-game. Oh, by the way,
yeah,
as he's standing there, waiting to come in, it was like, oh, and Shay, congratulations, Western Conference Player of the Week. But it was also funny because Jimmy Butler was the I mean, not Jimmy Butler,
Bam Adebayo.
Bam from Miami,
Yeah,
because we had just played them on Saturday. We'd played them twice the week prior,
yeah.
here at home and then in Miami. And it was just so funny that those two out of the games, those two ended up being the players of the weeks.
Great choices. They both played great during that series. So, great job, NBA. And it was fun having a Monday afternoon matinee.
Let me
The,
tell you, the nap I had after my post-game wrap with the sun still up was a delight.
oh yes, it was nice. And it was like it's also so fun for basketball fans. MLK Day, the whole like full day of basketball. It's like a basketball holiday. I love it. And
And the NBA and the players, they did honor Martin Luther King Jr. They had shirts and the acknowledgments, and so it was a nice touch. There was actual some respect for the day and not just full day of ball, which
that's right. And all the national TV games, and I'm sure all the other ones too, had the special moment where not only did you get the national anthem, but you had the Lift Every Voice and Sing being sung before each game. For those that don't know, that song is often called the Black National Anthem. So a very, very important thing in our history as Americans, and it was great to see so much coverage of all of that. and hearing our guys talking about what this means to them and some of the little interviews they did. Um, I really am glad the NBA does that every year. It's really nice.
It is. It is. But speaking of all-star, you know who needs to be an all-star this year?
I think I do. He might
It's
be a
a
guy from Minnesota.
it is. He's very tall. He's very lanky, needs a few hamburgers on his hips,
He's
and his
gotten
nickname is
bigger.
Cheddar.
He's gotten bigger.
He has. He
If
has.
you
But
look at those year one pictures compared to
oh,
now,
scrawny lanky.
like you
But
think he
every
looks
time he
scrawny
comes,
now, like he was scrawny then.
he was. But I still cringe every time that hip hits the floor.
Hey,
Oh,
I
but he
don't
is. But
blame
he
you.
is. When you look at his arms and you look at his upper body, it is so obvious how much stronger he has gotten. And you see it in his defense.
Yes. He is playing elite defense. What's his numbers at the rim? I believe he leads the league in shooting percentage of opponent at the rim around like 48%.
Yeah. So
Um,
going
at,
into the
so,
last
so
game,
these at the rim shots for those of you who don't know statistics real well in basketball, at the rim, I mean that's your layups and dunks. Those are your shots that like
in the paint,
these
down
are
at the
the
goal.
gimmies. Like
Yeah.
good players shoot 60+% at the rim. Like
Yep.
good solid NBA players will shoot 60+%.
Yeah, I think that they were saying that since last season, so this is all season, that players, when defended by Chet at the rim, are shooting 48.2%. And these
Below
players
50%, y'all. That
below
means
50%.
they have a
And they're,
worse chance than a coin flip of making a shot when Chad is
yep,
defending them at the rim.
said that they had an average rim field goal percentage of 64, which means Chet's held them 15.8% below their average rim field goals.
So he's
Crazy.
taken really good NBA players, like superstar level players,
Yep.
and turning them into like has-beens when they try to get to the rim.
I mean, it is so funny. I didn't think about it like what you said, the coin flip, 50-50. Like it is the chance that you're going to score at the rim when Chet is on the court is less than 50%.
Yeah.
Now, Chet has been on the floor a lot more because of injuries,
Yes.
but when you look at it, you look at him offensively, though, too. He's not just making an impact defensively. His offense has considerably increased from what seemed to kind of be a lull earlier. And
Yeah.
that on both sides, like, tell me why he's not going to be all, all NBA this year.
He should be an all-star and all NBA. And I believe right now, in those odds, he is considered the favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year at the moment. So,
Well, I am not jinxing anything.
knock on wood, but right
I
now
knock
he is
on
the
them.
favorite. So,
Yes.
it does seem that people are taking note and realizing just how good he is finally. But like you
Yeah.
said, it's not just defense. He's averaging about almost 20 points a game and on really efficient shooting. Like he's had several games where he's 8 of 10, 8 of 11, 9 of 12. Like he's not out there, throwing up 30 shots to get those 20 points. And
No.
he's not just shooting dunks, like he's shooting three-pointers at a nice clip. He's this season, I feel like you can really see it. Last year, you could see the thought process when he would catch the ball behind the three-point line, and he would almost take a beat to like look at where the defenders were. And by
Hmm.
the time his thought process caught up to what he needed to do, the defender was up on him and he wasn't taking the shot.
Yeah.
And this year, that hesitation's gone and he's just shooting it and making it.
Yeah, it's more instinctual. What is it Coach Mark says? The game is slowing down for him.
Yes.
Like he's reading it so much better and the instinct is just I don't know. It's great to see his development and yeah. So if he doesn't get recognition, I will be very surprised.
I will be too, especially because I mean, typically the team with the best record gets two All-Stars.
Yeah.
And if this was a fully healthy season, we're probably talking about J-Dub likely being that second All-Star.
Yeah.
But J-Dub's been out a lot, as have a lot of the players.
Mm-hmm.
Which, speaking of injuries,
Look at you.
the Thunder has came out during one of these recently televised games. I think it was during the Milwaukee game the other night. They mentioned that the Thunder had officially the second most man games missed due to injury. The only team with more was the LA Clippers. But then I was listening to one of my other Thunder podcasts who got deeper into that statistic and found that because Chris Paul hasn't been waived from the Clippers and was just sent home, Chris Paul's missed games have been counting as those missed man games. And if you take the Chris Paul games out of that number, then the Thunder have actually missed the most games due to injury.
Which even with all that, we are 37-8,
And
which is
number one in
insane.
the NBA
With most
by
games
like
missed.
five or six games over the West. I
Yeah.
think we only lead by like three over Detroit, but I mean, come
We
on.
still lead the league.
Like, come on,
Not
it's
that,
not
but
even
that's not
close.
one I want to lead in. Like I'm tired of leading in that. I would like to, not. I'd like to be like, 10th on that list.
I would say this though. To me, it's proof that Shai's the MVP because
Yes.
no matter who he is put out there on that floor with, he is finding a way to make the players around him, whoever's playing that game, he makes them better.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever he needs to do that game to win, he does it. If it means he's got to put up 40 points, he'll put up 40 points. If it means he just needs to be tossing the ball to 3-point shooters, he'll toss the ball to the 3-point shooters. He will just literally make whatever the right play is to win games. And that's to me a big part of why he's the MVP.
Yeah, and you can see his leadership and playmaking abilities really coming out more. I mean, at one point in the second quarter, he was out there with all bench players. Now, granted, that's injury driven, so the rotations were funky. But AJ, before he went down with his injury, I mean, he was hot. He was rolling. Shea had 2 points in a first quarter because AJ was hot and he kept deferring and deferring. I mean, she's getting 10 plus assists in games.
Yeah, he had
I
like
mean,
8 assists in the first half the other night against Milwaukee, and then still
so,
ended up going for 40.
and you know how many of those were free throws?
You
Not as
know,
many as you would think.
not that many. And that brings us to another issue. Um, man, I get so I don't want to fight over it too much. I get dragged into it sometimes on my Threads account. There's just certain people who still won't let go of this dumb free throw merchant narrative. And one of our friends on Threads, AO, who is AFAFORE1 on Threads, posted these charts And I love this is the top 10 players in points that the percentage of the points that they get from free throws. Shai is not in the top 10 of people getting the points from free throws.
Shock face, shock face. He is not on this first slide with no with Jimmy Butler leading the way.
That's right. Jimmy Butler, 33% almost of his points come from free throws. You got look on here, we got Austin Reeves. Austin Reeves of the Lakers getting all this glaze from all these fans around Oh, look at this Austin Reeves and what a great player he's become. 28% of his points come from the free throw line. Shea doesn't even top 26%, isn't even in the top 10. But Shea is number two in the league in drives per game. The only player who leads him in drives to the basket more is Denny Avdia from Portland. Avdia is number two in the league in percentage of points from free throws and number one in drives. Shea is number two in drives, but not even in the top 10 in points from free throws. So,
Nope.
as Jimmy High Roller did a video last year about this, if you actually dig deep into the data, it all points to Shea is getting fewer free throw points than he probably should.
Yeah. His efficiency is just continuing to climb,
Yes.
and as much as he drives, you would think that the numbers would have been higher, that he would have been, I mean, he's not even averaging 10 free throws a game, I don't think. So
No.
it's not even,
You
but
know,
people are gonna, that's what they hear.
well, and
But
this is a point that's been brought up on Down to Dunk that I'd love to introduce over here is like I think it's Al Baby Cakes from Down to Dunk, the Down to Dunker who lives in Portland now. He was pointing out that like never before in the history of NBA watching have we watched so many replays of fouls, right? Like if people had social media when Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant were playing, we would have seen a lot of clips of them drawing fouls that looked like they probably shouldn't have drawn a foul or looked like flopping. But
mhm,
people weren't just sitting and watching that foul over and over. But
right.
now, because of social media, one person with some clout takes one clip of one bad foul and one floppy moment, and it gets replayed thousands of times. And
Yeah.
so people are literally like focusing on fouls in a way that they just didn't before.
Yeah.
And so I think we should take that into account when we're thinking of how people are responding.
No, I get it. And sometimes it's, you also see such a divide. You've got the people that are saying it that are so, you know, homers for their team. I mean that they see nothing else. All of the other, 29 other teams are, that's competition and we can't say anything positive. We got to find all the negatives, you know. And then you've got the other ones that are much more casual and only see what comes across their timeline.
Hmm.
They're just watching a few games or whatever, and they're not picking it up. Whereas you have us that probably watch too much, and yes, we're kind of homers, but we also appreciate other team and their play and their
Yeah.
players. And we're more basketball fans. We just happen to love the Thunder a whole bunch.
The only thing about it that really makes me sad is I don't want those fans to miss out on a good experience because they're so caught up in the narrative.
Yeah.
Because if you put the narrative aside and actually watch some Shea games, you get to see masterpieces like on Wednesday night, where he puts up 40 points, 10 assists, 7 rebounds, on like 80% shooting. And it's
Mhm.
like, whoa, like that's a true like elite level talent, like a once in a generation kind of player. Like we
That's
should be
where
appreciating this, not
that,
picking apart like foul baiting.
well, that's where I really like listening to other players talk about Shea. Because other, especially retired players, and they're coming and they're speaking, and they're like, Shea is just insane with what he's doing, and they can continue to be impressed and speak about how he plays,
Yeah.
and they appreciate. And so it's very interesting to hear it from a perspective of a previous player playing through different eras, and even, recent current players. They'll talk about how, other players play, and the appreciation. So, I mean, we
Oh, you listen to any recent guys and they're like, yeah, Shea, the hardest guy in the league to guard. Like
so slippery.
nothing you can do. Like
Nope.
literally he has a counter for anything you're trying to do to him.
They're just like, we're just try to contain him. Like, we know we can't stop him. We're just trying to contain him some.
Well, and then, even if you do stop him, like, yeah, you can send four guys at him and he'll throw the ball to other players, but now you're just letting those other players have open shots, and if they're hitting them, you're toast. If they're not, you got a chance. But that's your chance right there.
Well, Shay was letting AJ cook the other night when he made 40. Like, he only had 2 points in the first quarter because AJ was hot.
Yeah.
And I keep giving my AJ facts because he is such, I don't I read some things, and was reminded he's not so much a diamond in the rough. It's the fact that Samuel went to such lengths to get AJ. He
Yeah.
didn't just fall into the second. Like Samuel traded, I think, two different times to get up into the to where he could nab AJ.
Yeah, and I think Lindy Waters was even one of the moves that was made to get to that pick.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, you saw what AJ could be, and you brought him in, and now he's blossoming into what Samuel thought. And I
And
love seeing it.
then, and not only that, but then to make the move this summer to lock him up right after the championship.
Hmm.
You're like, hey man, you want to keep being a part of this championship program? Here's a sweet deal, 3 years guaranteed, 9 mil. Like, you're lucky you even got minutes on this team last year. Do you want to make sure you're guaranteed a spot here?
But Samuel's done that before. I mean, Lou Dort had that initial deal that was just a steal. And
Yeah.
so he treated him right and gave him the good contract when the rookie deal was up. And I think that's what's going to happen. I don't know. I'm knocking again, but I'm hoping that's what happens with AJ, because he's just fire. He's just a little spitball out there, just keeping it up.
Yeah, his playmaking is so good, and he's really important because especially with no J-Dub most so much of this season,
Yeah.
that secondary ball handler who can kind of get the offense going, who can run the offense when Shay's not out there. If you remember last season, those second unit minutes were all absorbed by J-Dub
Yep.
carrying the load on those units. And so not having him to do that and being able to have AJ plug in and be a 16 point, like 5 assists a night guy running the second unit, what a luxury. AJ could probably start on half the teams in the league right now.
That's I saw a clip. I wish I could remember where. Sorry to whoever I'm stealing this idea from, but um it was like Oklahoma doesn't have a bench. We have 10 plus starters for other NBA teams.
Kinda.
Yeah.
And like, but it's like partially because of the way they develop them.
Yeah.
It's there so many teams are still stuck in old patterns and old ways of doing things. And, the old way used to be, well, I know I'm going to need, when it comes playoffs, we're going to narrow the rotation down to 7 or 8 guys. So I'm only going to focus on making sure we've got 7 or 8 guys. And like, that's where all the focus is. And like, that's just not Coach Mark's way of doing things. That's not the way the Thunder org is about it. They're like, no, we want a whole team of players who can play their roles and like be a part of this team and step up when needed. And it's easy to say, and it's
Uh-huh.
really hard to actually do.
And if there is a silver lining to all of these injuries, she says cringingly, but it's true, our bench players are getting the reps. And by getting the reps in December and January, heading into February, by the time the back half of the season comes around and they're fighting for contract spots, we have the luxury of having depth going into the playoffs. We're not stuck with a 7 and 8 man rotation. We may only use a 7 or 8 man rotation, but we're not stuck with that. We
Yeah.
have the luxury of a deeper bench, but also because they can take more of the minutes loads as we head in towards the Aprils, heading into our main 7 and 8 get more rest. They're not already stretched by the time April gets here because we have the luxury of a bench that is already familiar, that's already been getting minutes, and they're not just coming in and playing trash minutes.
Yeah, they don't have to go out and be like scared they're gonna make mistakes because they've been in the moments. And
Yeah.
another fun thing I've heard about the team and how Coach Mark coaches them is apparently in a recent interview, Coach Mark said they won't be upset with you if you make a mistake because you're too aggressive. So
Hmm.
it's basically everyone on the team knows as long as you're playing aggressive, if you mess up, we're not gonna care.
Yeah.
We're only gonna get on to you if you make a mistake because you weren't out there being aggressive and trying to make a play. Like we would rather you err on the side of trying to make plays than err on the side of like hesitating and not making plays.
Right.
And
Right.
and you can see that. Like that's why an AJ Mitchell can be like your basically your third string point guard, but suddenly be thrust into starting minutes and not be worried about it because he's not afraid, oh, I'm gonna fail. He's like,
Yeah.
I just gotta go out there, play hard, play aggressive, and my team's gonna have my back.
The positive reinforcement really helps them with their confidence level.
Yeah.
They feel like they can go out there and continue to shoot until it drops, to go out and take the shots, to
Yeah.
be the swing man,
And look at, I mean, Lou Dort, I know we as fans get upset sometimes because he does have those like 0 of 8 from 3 games, but like I'd still rather have that than have a guy who goes 0 of 8 one game and now never shoots another three again.
right.
Because without Lou Dort making 5 3-pointers in that Denver series in one of those games, we don't win that game. It was the
Nope.
Lou Dort wins that game for us because he had the confidence to take those shots in those moments because he knew my team will be more mad at me if I stand here and don't shoot it than if I shoot it and miss it.
Yeah.
And
It's
that like
true.
you have to have that mentality. Coach Mark has tapped into that in a way that I think other coaches should take note of because he's figured out how to really get these guys to play freely.
Yeah, and they do, and it's a treat to watch. And you see, I love it when the guys are mic'd up because you hear them with the supportive and the just shoot it, just take it, take the shot, just do it. And it's just you hear it, and it's not in a oh my God, take the shot. It's like, hey, come on, take the shot. It's good.
Yeah.
It's you, yeah. So
And
it's
hey,
enjoyable. That's one of my favorite things to listen.
we saw a team that doesn't look like they like playing together the other night in Milwaukee. Like,
Oh.
I mean,
11 shots in 32 minutes.
that team, you could just see it. Like that team
Oh, they
wasn't
are so
supporting each other. They weren't there for each other. Like
the disconnect.
the fans weren't into the fans were feeling it. Like, the fans weren't in the game because the players aren't into the game. Like
Mm-mm,
their
mm-mm.
players aren't bringing the energy, the fans weren't bringing any energy. It starts compounding. So
Yeah.
like you really like it's so important that these guys are tied so well together as a team to really like root for each other and not see each other as like, oh, you're keeping me from getting minutes.
I saw somebody make the comparison. It was like last year when all of our guys, they always do the group interviews with Nick. They're always doing their group interviews. And they're like, oh, that's immature. And that's just, why do they keep that's so high school? And now somebody was making the point that, well, they do these group interviews. They are so aligned. They are such a unit that they can do these group. And it's like, that's who these guys have been. You guys just twist the narrative to fit, and it's just so funny. But they just come
Speaking
in with the 0-0. Oh, I'm sorry,
speaking
speaking.
speaking of post-game interviews and
Oh,
Thunder broadcast people, because we're going kind of long. It's been a long episode.
oh, my bad.
Um, Paris Lawson, we have some news.
Yes, she has been selected, chosen, with starting to do reporting for the WNBA for USA Today.
Our
Yay!
USA Network, yeah?
I'm sorry, USA Network.
Yes.
See, but here's the thing to reassure you guys, she is not leaving the Thunder. She is still going to continue to do her on-air broadcasting for the Thunder. The WNBA stuff is, as she said, her summer job.
I am so proud of Paris. She's been with the team like almost a decade now, I think. She's been around a while now. She's a great person. I got to speak with her a couple of years ago at the Women in Business Summit, and she spent like 10, 15 minutes talking with me and a friend after the program, telling us all about the life of being on the road and having to pack ahead of games at home because they're leaving immediately for the airport straight from the game, and just what a hectic and rush of a life that can be. She's super down to earth, fun to chat with. Follow her on Instagram. She is active over there. Feel free to follow her. But I'm so proud of her. She deserves this. She deserves any national cred she gets because she's worked hard to get where she is.
Absolutely. She is such a pro. It's great. So love seeing this for her. And it also brings more attention to the WNBA, which we all, everyone
Minnesota
watches
Lynx,
women.
baby.
Oh, look at that. Well, what
Since
is
the Thunder
today?
don't have a WNBA affiliated team, that's where I can root for a Minnesota team without a second hesitation.
There you go. There you go. So tonight, I'm going to be rooting for the Thunder over the Pacers here at home
The
tonight.
finals rematch.
It on
Sort of.
paper, on paper.
Now, the
Um,
Pacers will be wearing their yellow statement editions that they wore for every game of the finals. So that will look familiar.
it will. That is one familiar. I mean, it is Rivals Week, so There we go.
This was originally scheduled to be a national television game. It was going to be a late game. This was going to be one of those like 8:30 or 9 o'clock late night national TV games.
I'm
But
aware.
it got flexed a couple weeks ago because the Pacers are 10 and 35, and I guess the NBA realized a matchup between the best team in the NBA and the worst team in the NBA might not actually be a great rivalry to put on.
Well, I mean, anything can happen.
I
Anything
think
can
it might
happen.
be fair to say the Pacers are rivals now, though. I think
Yeah, I
When
would.
Tyrese
It,
gets back, I think Thunder fans
no,
will
I
consider them
fully believe that
rivals.
will be a much more robust rivalry than with the Bucks. But
Yeah,
the Bucks have their own issue, and
that was weird. I don't even
I don't
know
know. I don't know.
how they finagled that into rivalry week, but whatever.
Whatever.
Um, I guess two mid-market teams that have won championships in the last 7 years, maybe.
Somebody
I don't
said
know.
the NBA Cup from a year or two ago, maybe,
NBA
but
Cup last year, they did meet in the NBA Cup final. That's true.
but
Didn't feel real strongly about that afterwards, but
somebody did.
hey,
Oh well.
we're just fans. What do we know?
Yep. Oh, well, I'm going to be a fan that sits in my recliner and stays warm to watch the games. I hope that you and your family and friends, everyone is safe going into the snowpocalypse.
We're the snow is past. It's just cold now here. The sun's actually out and it has gotten up to -10 just in the time that we've been talking. So it's a veritable heat wave out there, Paula. It's not the heat that gets you, it's the humidity, really.
It's a dry cold.
It is a really dry cold. Oh my God. Lotion becomes so important in the winter here.
I bet.
It's so dry. Uh, anyway, well, thank you all for sticking with us on this fun episode. It's been great. Peace, love, and thunder up, y'all.
Bye.